Video 28. The New Year's resolution was to get a video up every weekend this year. Now, I never said it had to be a metal video every weekend because I'm going to switch it up a lot for this one. There's two movies I've been a fan of since high school. Akira, the 1988 classic anime, and Juice, 1992 hood classic movie by Omar Epps and Tupac. It's crazy. Well, of course, this is a sci-fi anime. This is a thriller, drama, hood movie. So, they're like different genres, but I couldn't help but notice the parallels in this movie. And it gets me is, you could Google it, look it up on YouTube. You don't see anything about this. So I thought, you know what? Maybe if other people did the same thing as me, maybe it'll take them to this video here. So, what am I talking about? Of course, Akira, one of the first things we see is the main characters, Kaneda and Tetsuo, battling out with a biker gang, the Clowns. And there's two encounters. The first one gets broken up by the police. Then the second one, Kaneda takes Tetsuo's bike for a joyride. And what happens? The Clowns, they catch him with just his girl that he has a crush on. So he's completely outnumbered and he has to get rescued by of course, Kaneda and his buddies. They chase down and they rescue him from the clown biker gang. Now let's jump over to Juice. One of the first things we see, Bishop's walking down the street, bumps into Radamez and his gang. So in Juice, Radamez and his gang are Akira's clown biker gang. So Bishop's backed into a corner. You see, he's cocky, but he's nervous. He's about to get jumped. But what happens? He gets rescued by his buddies. Raheem, Q, who's played by Omar Epps, and Steel. So you see that in Akira. The antagonist is about to get beat up by a gang and gets rescued by the main character and friends. We see the same thing happen in Juice. And then of course there's two encounters. And the first one, Akira, the first biker gang brawl, broken up by police. Then the second one, Kaneda rescues Tetsuo. In Juice, they flip it around. The first one, Tupac's character Bishop gets rescued by his friends, but then the second one's broken up by police. Of course, things happen different afterwards. There's spoilers in this movie. Oh God, if you haven't seen either movie and plan on watching them, turn this off. There's spoilers. So that was the first thing I noticed. It's Juice Juice had their own version of the battle with the clown biker gang. And what happens after Kaneda rescues Tetsuo? Tetsuo's pissed off. Why do I always have to get rescued by you? Why do you always have to save me, or whatever he said? So we see something similar happen in Juice, where the antagonist, Bishop, Tupac's character, he is the Tetsuo. He's Juice's Tetsuo. He's pissed. Why are we always running? We're running from Radamez's gang. We're running from the cops. We're always running. So so there's that. And of course, there's somewhere along the lines, but for different reasons, they're both interrogated by police. But that's grabbing at straws. That part's grasping. But what happens in Akira, the antagonist, Tetsuo, we see him get powers. And in Juice, we see the antagonist, Tupac's character, Bishop, he gets a gun. So in Juice, that is the power. When Tupac gets the gun, his character Bishop, that's the power. In Akira, that's Tetsuo's powers. And what do we see Tetsuo do shortly after he gets powers? He goes to the bar. Of course, we see the movie starts off in that bar with Kaneda playing the arcade. There's the bartender. And what does Tetsuo do? He murders the bartender, and then he murders one of his close friends, someone who rescued him earlier in the movie. Now in Juice, what does Tupac do? When shortly after he gets the gun, of course, they rob the liquor store or whatever, but what happens next? He murders one of his friends, Raheem, who was sort of the leader of their pack, sort of. See, in Akira, we see Tetsuo murder one of his close friends right after he gets the powers, right after he escapes from the hospital or whatever. And in Juice, right after the robbery, we see Bishop murders Raheem. I'm these movies they really run parallel. Of course, Akira's got anarchy and the military, sci-fi, and Juice is just in the hood, record stores and stuff, arcades. So of course, yeah, there's arcades in both movies, and we see that happen. And then of course, let's fast forward to the end in Akira. When Tetsuo is cooked, when he's really, when he can't control his powers and he's about to die, what does he do? Canada, help me! He's begging. Tetsuo's begging. After he tried to kill Kaneda several times, he's begging him to help him, and Kaneda's actually trying to save him, even though he just tried to kill him, even though he just killed his friend, murdered several people. Fast forward to Juice. Tupac murdered Raheem, tried to murder Steel. Steel survives, but there's their final fight on the rooftop. Of course, and even Q, Omar Epps' character, the Canada of the story, he got shot in chase. They fight on the rooftop. Of course, the fight ends. Omar Epps punches Tupac. He's dangling off the roof. They're grabbing onto each other. Bishop's begging him, "Don't let go, please." And then and Q, I got you. He's actually trying to rescue him, but of course, no, I can't hold on. And so we see Tupac's character fall to his death. So I'm thinking, both. When Tetsuo was cooked, about to die, he's begging the person he just tried to kill for help, and the person he actually tries to help him. We see the same thing happen in Juice. I thought both were powerful scenes. I thought both, even though this antagonist tried to kill the protagonist for half the movie, we still see him trying to help his old buddy in the end when they're both about to die. I like that. And of course, at the very end of Akira, we get the brief flashback of when Tetsuo and Kaneda first met. And then Juice ends. This is just like a 1 second clip. They show like the four main characters walking down the street smiling, a happier time. We see both end like that. Juice's was a lot briefer. And some people might say I'm full of it, but I don't know. I mean, I just couldn't believe that. I couldn't find anything online about this anywhere. Like, no one's talking about this. All these parallels in these movies, just from the gang battle in the beginning, that the antagonist's mad that he's always running or always getting rescued. They get the powers, then when they're about to die, they ask the protagonist, who they tried to kill half the movie, to help them, and the protagonist actually does, even though there's nothing he could do. The flashback at the end. I thought, I didn't see anything online anywhere about the similarities of these movies, and I thought maybe someone else out there will look it up, and it'll take them to this video. So I guess that's all I'm going to do for video 28. We'll be back to metal next week. Next weekend we will be back to metal. This is just a one-off. Take care, guys. Video 28.